we're starting to see some frozen precipitation in our area. I have the newest timing for the arrival of the bulk of the storm and how long the impacts could linger.
Final preps are on all across the region as the storm gets closer. WRAL has team coverage across the triangle to keep our eye on the conditions and to keep you safe and prepared.
Here in the WRAL Live Center, we're following protests in Durham after another deadly shooting involving federal agents. The protesters' message and plans as the ice storm gets closer.
And the Buddhist monks have left the Capitol building and are making their way to their resting spot for the night. Their plans to handle the dangerous weather on the way.
A looming ice storm, an angry protest in Durham against federal immigration enforcement, and a huge crowd braving the cold to see the Buddhist monks march for peace in Raleigh. It is a busy day. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. So we have a lot to cover tonight. We do want to begin with the ice storm that is coming our way right now. This is the latest as we know it. We are seeing our very first reports of light sleet right now in certain parts of our viewing area. We will see that change over to freezing rain as we head deeper into the night. No widespread power outages at this time. That too is likely to change as we go into Sunday.
Yeah, our team coverage continues all night long, but let's get an update right now from meteorologist Grant Skinner. Grant.
Yeah, we're starting the live look from Boone this evening. This is where some of that snow and sleet is already falling across parts of that area. And we'll continue to see more of it move from west to east as this system slowly works its way into the area. Again, already have seen sleet over our part of the region. You see over Apex right now, not too busy, but we've had a little bit of sleet reported across parts of our area, a little bit of snow back towards the Triad, and we'll see more of that mixed precipitation slowly work its way in. Here's the big picture. Our next weather maker is this area of low pressure back to the south, also a high just to our north. That's bringing in that deep cold air mass, and with that low slowly working its way to the east and northeast, all this precip slowly works its way in our direction, and that will change over to primarily freezing rain tonight after we see a little bit of maybe some snow and sleet mixed in over the next handful of hours. This is dual Doppler 5000. You can see some of that light precip off to the north and west. The thing is, with how dry the surface has been, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this to the north and west isn't necessarily getting all the way to the ground, but we have seen some reports of sleet across our area, so maybe a little bit of ice pellets here and there, but we haven't changed over to freezing rain quite yet. We'll see that transition overnight tonight. Temperatures right now are cold. We're in the low 20s to the north, mid to upper 20s to the south, and we'll stay cold all the way through the night tonight, and you factor in the wind as well, and it feels even colder. Temperatures dropping to the teens for our feels like temperatures. It feels like 18 in Fayetteville, 11 in Raleigh, down to 10 for our wind chill in Roxborough. So it feels very, very cold. Make sure you're bundled up if you have to be outside at any point throughout the course of the night. Fortunately, you should be able to stay inside because a lot of things have been kind of wrapped up here, and preparations should be wrapped up as well because we're already seeing the flurries and light sleet. As we get past 7 o'clock, that wintry mix becomes a lot more widespread across the area. Then past 9 p.m. into the overnight hours tonight, that's when we'll see more widespread freezing rain across the area. WRAL weather alert days go all the way through Tuesday because we have the winter storm and then the bitter cold that follows right after that. Here's our precip chances, 100% chance of precip all the way through noon tomorrow, and then we drop off for a brief period of time. Could see a little bit of a lull in the precip that picks right back up late in the day. Fortunately, though, it should transition more so to rain late in the day tomorrow and into very early Monday. So a few key points real quick. High risk for power outages across the area. It's because of that accumulating ice across the region. The timing is right now, all the way through Sunday night for the precip. Of course, just some precip here and there for now. That will really pick up late in the day today and into tomorrow. Treacherous travel for many is expected with that ice accumulating on the ground. We're going to continue to monitor conditions across the area. Our entire team will have updates on what's going on with reporters out in the field, and we'll make sure you know what's going on in your specific area. That way you're up to date on all of the latest.
All right, Grant, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, that timing is really important,
Yes.
especially as we look into tomorrow, how things begin. But it's really ramping up as we hit midnight and then pretty much through most of the early afternoon tomorrow, when we'll see most of that ice building up on things like power lines and trees and creating the headaches that I think we're all not looking forward to as we move into tomorrow.
Right, and we're hoping for no power outages, but you have to be prepared, and that's what we have been telling people.
You should expect there to be power outages, right?
Yes, and we've been telling people to be prepared. Carly Haynes is out in the elements for us tonight. Carly, you were telling us how people are getting prepared for this storm. We're getting really close to storm's arrival.
Yeah, so right now we're seeing a delay in that precipitation. So we saw some light precip a little bit earlier this afternoon, that sleet bouncing off our windshield. Right now it's dry. We're in that dry period, but it is just so cold. And there are fewer cars that are out and about than we saw earlier this afternoon. But then we also saw those last minute shoppers before the ice storm. So maybe they already got what they needed earlier in the week, but they just wanted to top off because they've been kind of snacking throughout the week. So we saw this parking lot was filled with cars a few hours ago. So we stopped some people and asked what they were getting.
So we picked up some last minute things for little kids, lots of fruit, some pancake mix, some frozen pizza in case we don't lose power. Fingers crossed.
It's like wall to wall in there. So yes, like get in, get out if you can.
So fortunately, there were still items on the shelves for those people as they were going into the store. But right now, we're just a few hours away from more of that heavy precipitation coming down. So people are really going to need to post up, stay inside, and stay off the roads. Guys.
Carly's a real pro because you cannot tell how cold she actually is right now. She's hiding it very well. Well done once again from Carly Haynes.
Yes, and all of our reporters that have been out there since the early morning hours this morning. Well, some stores, they are closing early tonight before the weather conditions do get worse. Harris Teeter will be closing in less than 2 hours at 8 o'clock tonight. That's where we find WRAL's Eric Miller. Eric, are you seeing a lot of people there or is it quiet?
And we've certainly heard that messaging all week long. If you don't have to go out, you do want to stay at home. And the thing is, you're going to have one fewer place to go within the last couple of hours. We learned from the folks at Harris Teeter that many of their locations here in the Triangle area are going to be closing because of this weather. That includes the Harris Teeter right behind me here at the Village District. You can see the parking lot absolutely packed here with those last minute shoppers. Certain areas inside are definitely looking very picked over at this point. Dairy very hard hit, bread very hard hit, and many of the fresh fruits and vegetables already gone as well. Folks getting that last minute shopping done here tonight. Now we know that this Harris Teeter is going to be shutting down at 8 o'clock. That is several hours ahead of schedule. And according to a sign posted on the door as well as a press release we received from Harris Teeter, it won't reopen again until tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, weather permitting. So these folks here at Harris Teeter, like so many others out there, they're going to be keeping a close eye on the conditions and deciding whether or not that it is safe for them to reopen, for employees to come back, and for shoppers to come back to these stores. We'll, of course, be staying on top of what's going on out here, bringing the latest details as we get them. In Raleigh, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
Eric also doing a fantastic job of not showing how cold he is
Not as good as Carly, though. Yeah. Eric looked a little colder, I will admit. Let's send things into the Live Center and check it with Brian Schrader.
We're already getting some videos and pictures from WRAL.com/reported. As we've been reporting for the past couple of hours, we have had some light sleet falling in the Triangle, and many thanks to our viewers for sending in pictures like this one from Cary. You can see where some of that sleet was able to stick around there on that elevated surface, that patio chair. And this is some video of some of the sleet falling earlier in Cary. Those little tiny sleet pellets hitting the ground and bouncing around. We're going to see that as we head through the rest of the evening, and then gradually it will transition into that freezing rain. Now, this is going to be a key way for us to see what's happening in your neighborhood. So if you're getting any pictures or video that are safe to get, and then you have a chance to send it to us, go to WRAL.com/report.
All right, thank you, Brian. Now, despite the cold and the looming ice storm, people in Durham came out to protest federal immigration enforcement. It comes after a 37-year-old man today who was shot by federal immigration officers in Minneapolis died.
WRAL's Sean Gallagher live for us in Durham. Sean.
Yeah, those protests just wrapped up here after more than 90 minutes of chants and marching and everything. All of those folks, they're finishing up right now here with a little bit of a prayer as they all really back up all of this protest about ICE. But we want to show you some video of the march from earlier today, all around here, downtown Durham, shutting down the streets with their chants against ICE and their actions here. And all of this amid some of the coldest temperatures that we have, with a storm bearing down on us. But they needed to be out here just for this protest, and this is one of the organizers earlier today.
If they can do this in Minnesota and negative.
Welcome back as our storm coverage continues. The Highway Patrol is preparing their response to the looming ice storm.
First Sergeant Christopher Knox joins us now to talk a little bit about that with us. Sergeant Knox, I know you guys are very prepared for this. You guys have been doing a lot of work to prepare for the storm. Walk us through what exactly you guys have been doing.
A lot of it just has to do with staffing, making sure we have the sworn members that are going to be called upon to help those in need, but having the civilian members in our comm centers and supporting our troopers for the very busy hours we have ahead of us.
You know, I often think about some of the messaging that we try to put out here from WRAL, just talking about how dangerous the roads can get when it comes to ice. And I know that we have a lot of Northerners who have moved down to the south, myself included, who think, hey, I can drive on snow. But this is so much different. And with you and the other first responders who are forced to be out on the roads regardless, can you talk a little bit about the dangers and the difference between driving on ice compared to other types of weather?
Yeah, absolutely. From my experience, there's just no vehicle that fares well on the ice, and there's no skill set or no background in being from a certain area of the country that really helps prepare you for the ice. The ice, whether you have a 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, whatever you have, it's unrelenting, it's unforgiving. It's just a different beast, and really as you've expressed, and as our command staff and as our governor have expressed, this is just going to be a storm that you can't travel in and you shouldn't travel in.
And we know you guys work around the clock to make sure that everybody is safe, especially in times like this when we have a big storm headed our way. First Sergeant Christopher Knox, thank you for joining us, and thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Be safe out there. Let's continue to stay on the topic of first responders, because they're going to be pivotal over the next 24 hours and then some. Duke Energy line workers are getting ready now to respond to the ice storm outages that we anticipate.
Yeah, Caroline Yaffa live at the staging area in Raleigh Coastal Credit Union Music Park at Walnut Creek. Caroline, they've been doing a lot to prepare for this.
Yeah, there's actually around 30 trucks that are here behind me, and they're contractors hired by Duke Energy. So this group of trucks that are right here, they actually came all this way from Florida, from that hot weather that you were talking about earlier. They tell me that they are planning to spend around 7 to 10 days here to do what they can to help. There are 3 crews here from Horizon Utility Services that I spoke with a total of 13 workers ready to help North Carolinians. They say crews like these are being staged across the state ahead of the storm, allowing them to respond quickly once conditions are safe.
Be patient. We're out here away from home working to try to help out, and we've received a lot of help from the people up here in Florida when we have hurricanes, so we're happy to do it. But just please be patient with us and all the workers out here. We're trying as hard as we can to get it back on as quickly as possible.
And these crews tell me they won't do anything until they feel that it's safe with the storm going out, but they are going to be right there when they can. Caroline Yaffa, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
All right, Caroline, thank you very much.
And thank goodness for the work that they do.
Yes,
honestly,
absolutely.
It's dangerous, it's freezing cold, it's pivotal, and it can save people's lives. So it's the fact that they're staged there, they're coming from other places around the country to be ready to help us, it puts you at ease a little bit when you think about the power going out and how long you might have to live that way.
Yeah, and some people might still have questions. Hey, when is it absolutely not safe for me to be out on the roads?
Exactly. So let's send things over to Grant Skinner, who's keeping an eye on the forecast as it continues to transition and looking very much in line with what you've been reporting along the way.
That's right. Starting as some snow and sleet and then finally transitioning to that freezing rain later this evening. I think the worst time to be traveling will be around midnight tonight all the way through around noon tomorrow, because that's when we'll see the majority of the precip falling and freezing on contact. And with that, the roads will be very, very slick. You can see on Dual Doppler 5000 already seeing some of that precip to the north, a little bit to the south as well, maybe some sleet mixed in there. Zooming in on the triangle and points west back towards Pittsboro, maybe a little bit of precip, but it may not be making it all the way to the ground. Maybe some snow and some sleet mixed in. We're watching over the next few hours for this to all transition to more of that freezing rain. And that timing is going to be key, because that will kind of show us how much accumulation we'll see over the next 24 hours. If that freezing rain takes a little bit longer, we could have less accumulations. That's what we want. Less of that freezing rain, less of that ice on the roads. It is cold out there, though. 23 in Raleigh, 21 Roxborough, 28 in Fayetteville, 27 in Goldsboro. If you were making your last minute preparations today, I'm sure if you were out and about with it, I was out and it was very, very cold. Fortunately, we will see some improvements for part of next week, a little bit warmer, just a tiny bit. But for now, it's going to be very, very cold. And as I mentioned, from around midnight all the way through noon Sunday, you need to refrain from traveling, especially during that time, and leave that for first responders who have to be out there, folks that have to be out on the roads. You can see there's a 2,000-mile plus stretch of all these winter weather alerts. It's already been happening back to our west. A lot of snow, freezing rain, sleet, all working its way to the east. A winter storm warning is in place for a good portion of our area. And also we are watching all these power outages as well, already picking up back to our west. We're going to watch that map closely throughout the course of this evening and tomorrow. So winter storm warning for our area and points west, a winter weather advisory for southeastern portions of the area. And we have an ice storm warning back towards Charlotte, Asheville, areas to the south and west. The sleet totals not as high, about 0.02 of an inch, with those highest amounts up towards Roxborough. But if we get a little bit more of this sleet, that would be key, because that would mean less of the freezing rain. And we're still expecting a good bit of freezing rain, about 0.5 inch plus from the triangle and points north and west, from Smithfield down through Southern Pines, all the way up through Rocky Mount, Conway, and it points north. We're expecting about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of freezing rain. And then to the south and east, lower accumulations, closer to the coastline, more so rain, but still could see some freezing rain mixed in, which means some slick roads. So let's take you through Futurecast. 26 degrees by 7 o'clock, 21 Roxborough. It's already colder than that. So already seeing those frigid temperatures out there. We'll continue to see that wintry mix to the north, transitioning mainly to freezing rain by around midnight tonight. And you can see Futurecast stays busy throughout the course of the day. By 6 a.m., you've got more of that freezing rain, and this will stick around throughout the course of the day tomorrow. So make sure you're staying indoors, have those preps wrapped up, and it will be cold for the start of the week, so we'll have to watch for more treacherous roads as we head into Monday and Tuesday.
You said it. Thank you, Grant.
And coming up, we will look at how RDU is faring in all of this. RDU reporting more than 70 cancellations right now and nearly 280 flights canceled tomorrow. WRAL's Kirsten Clark joins us live there right now. Kirsten, you've been talking to travelers today, some who have been directly impacted by all of this already.
Oh, yeah, Michelle, we've seen plenty of people come and walk up to these boards to check the status of their flights, only to see a long list of cancellations and delays. You can see that here. Part of that is due to Southwest and United Airlines canceling all of their flights this afternoon by 3 and 4 o'clock, and as well as tomorrow, they've stopped all of their flights. You can see American as well has canceled several flights today. So we're keeping up with this. I've been checking FlightAware to stay up with these numbers, and we'll bring you updates on those as we have them. Live at RDU, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
Thank you, Kirsten, and stick with us. More winter weather coverage continues after this.